good morning and welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. I'm Jody Pock Newsom and I'm your host. We have a great show lined up for you this morning. This morning we're going to talk to you about lawn care and what to do in this weather. We're also going to talk about the fact that it's Farmers Market Month, and we're also going to talk about Michigan Fresh. Stay tuned. Good morning, and again, welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. I don't know about you, but I just can't believe we're already looking at July. We've had that big July 4th holiday, and here we are in the bounty of what we have here in Michigan. We're going to give you some great information this morning, so you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned. We are going to start with Kevin Frank from Michigan State University, and we are going to talk lawn care. You know, I don't know about you, but I sit there, I've watched the lawn all summer. Ours is starting to look pretty rough. So we're going to ask Kevin what we should do, what we should be aware of. Certainly it's had some stress this year. Are there any special things we need to do? What do we need to pay attention to? And how do we need to keep that lawn going? And he'll just give us some tips and ideas, some good things that you want to make sure you do so that as we start to get some moisture, those lawns come out good and they still stay looking nice. Then I also have with me this morning Mike Beck. He is with Uncle John's in St. John's, and we are going to talk about Farmers Market Month. Certainly, you know, we talk about the diversity of agriculture that we have here in our state. We talk about the opportunities, but it's great to get the folks who are out there, who are doing that work, talk about those farmers markets, give you some ideas of what's available. And we're going to be very frank, and we're going to ask him about the crop, and some of it we might want to hear and some of it we might not want to hear, but we want to make sure that you are aware, you're ready, you know what's in season, and you know how quickly things are progressing along this year. Then also I have with me this morning Tom Kuhn and Terry McLean, and we are going to talk about a new program called Michigan Fresh. You know, we talk about the diversity of agriculture that we have here in our state, but a lot of times you go to the store, you go to the farm market, you go to the farmer's market, and you see some of this produce, and you're really not sure quite what to do with it. And if you don't get your hints from Michigan Farm and Garden, there's also another tool, which is Michigan Fresh. It has some great information as far as to how to select, how to cook, how to prepare, and also how to preserve. Especially in a year like this, that the seasons are coming fast, they're ending quickly, especially as dry and hot as it is. You need to know what you need to do to put those up, to be able to preserve those, and to be able to keep those so you can enjoy the bounty of Michigan throughout the year. So we're going to share that information with you, and then at the end of the show, I'm going to share an awesome recipe. It comes from Emily Bolenball of Lansing, and it is for golden summer corn soup. Folks, it's absolutely wonderful. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So make sure you stay tuned, and we will be back with our first guest right after the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week.
It's time for the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week, brought to you by the Corn Marketing Program of Michigan.
Michigan's economy. If every person spent just $10 each week on Michigan-grown or processed food, it would add more than $37 million to our state's economy. For more information, go to michigan.gov/MDA.
Corn touches your life every day. With over 600 items in the store that contain corn, it's America's renewable resource. There are amazing new products made from corn, like comforters, clothes, corn stoves, dinnerware, and of course, ethanol.
Corn, America's renewable resource, powering industry, feeding America, and fueling the future.
Thanks to Michigan's corn farmers, the future is bright for innovative products made from corn. To learn more about how corn touches your life, visit our website.
And welcome back. We are back with Kevin Frank of Michigan State. Kevin, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here, and our lawns right now are looking pretty tough.
Crunchy, maybe?
It feels like it.
Yeah, it's most of the state has been very dry for the last probably going on almost close to 6 weeks now. So if you haven't been irrigating, it's probably time to give it a drink of water. There's usually two types of folks in this world when it comes to lawns: those that don't irrigate, and probably those that, well, maybe three. Those that irrigate with the end of a hose, kind of recreational irrigation, then those that have an in-ground system. So if you're of the former two, don't have the in-ground system, at least give it a drink now, because number one question everybody wants to know is my lawn dead? Is it going to be dead? Will it come out of this when rain returns? Usually the answer is yes, it will come back. It's a dormancy response. It's a way for the plant to survive. So the majority of our lawns are Kentucky bluegrass or some sort of mix with Kentucky bluegrass. Enters dormancy fairly quickly when we have hot, dry weather, but we'll usually bounce out of it pretty quick if we do get some rainfall. If you haven't had any rain, I'd go ahead, hook up the sprinkler at the end of a hose, try to give it at least maybe quarter, if not a half inch of water.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it's going to green up, doesn't mean you're going to have to start mowing again, but it'll prevent that possibility of the crown region of the plant, which is where it grows from completely drying out and dying.
Well, and that's good to know, because I know, we have some of those tall kind of weeds hanging out there, and
Sure.
you think, oh, it looks so bad, but it's hard to not do something with those and just let them go. But
Yeah, the biggest thing, you will see some people still mowing their lawns, even though there's no lawn to mow, but they're trimming the weeds down.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's just, you probably don't want to really traffic the lawn too much if it is dormant, because that's when you could start to really do some damage to it. So if you feel the need, like you need to mow to chop down some weeds, or maybe you have some areas that are shady that are actually growing a little bit, try to do it in the early morning or maybe late evening when it's not real hot. If you do it in the peak heat of the day, you can actually do some damage and track. And if it's somewhat green, you can put tracks across it that look like you had Roundup on your tires of your mower. So, I kind of cringe sometimes when I see the folks out there mowing, between 12 and 4 p.m. or something. So it might not look good next week.
Well, and that's important to know too, because you're not sure what to do and how you need to safeguard it. And as it starts to come out, what do we need to look at? Do we need to, try and give it a boost to get it going, or let it come out slow from this dryness?
Basically, I wouldn't, for most lawns, unless you've been irrigating all summer long, I probably wouldn't worry about doing a whole lot until you get cooler temperatures and rainfall and it resumes growth. If your lawn was dormant, until you're mowing again, there's probably not a lot you need to be doing besides just enjoying the time off and relaxing a little bit. Now, the other thing that you do need to think about this time of year is if you have grub issues. Not that you're going to have them now, but you might have them later in the summer.
Okay.
This is a perfect time to apply those preventative insecticides such as GrubX. Put it down now. The caveat is you have to get it watered in.
Okay.
So if you're on the dry side, you put this down, you better be able to provide some irrigation up to like a half inch to really get it worked in. Other words, you'll start to lose effectiveness of that product if it just sits on dry turf for a period of time.
Okay. So it's good to get out there, water, and we need to pay attention to those grubs.
Yeah, I mean, the grub thing is always a hot spot issue. You might live in a community or an area where there's been a lot of grub activity, and you have to be on a program where you apply this every year, or you will lose your lawn at the later end of the year. Other areas you might not need to apply. The thing to remember also is European chafer grubs. European chafer adult beetle is the one that's flying right now. You don't really see it unless you're out at night looking. They're not like the Japanese beetle that are feeding on rose bushes and everything else. But the bad news is European chafer loves to lay their eggs, which become the grub, in dry soil.
Oh, great.
Yeah, great, right?
Yeah, great.
And there is plenty of that right now around the state. So those dry lawns are going to be particularly susceptible to this type of grub damage later this summer unless the weather really shifts on us.
So we want to make sure we're out there paying attention, and if we've had issues before, it's probably good to be out there and be preventative.
Yeah, for most folks, if they've had grub damage before, they usually become inclined to maybe apply something.
Well, that does help, because you never want them to come back.
That's right.
And I know there's other things out there I mentioned to you, I know in our yard, it seems like the moles and that are just going crazy at this point. Are we going to do damage if we do some digging and try to put some traps out? How fragile is my lawn?
You're probably not going to do any more damage than the moles are already doing to the
They're
lawn.
awful.
So I personally would go after them if they're bothering you. There's different things you can use. We've talked about trapping before. If you're good at trapping, you can go that route. There are some poison bait type products you can use. I always caution people anytime you're using a poison bait. I have a lot of dogs and cats, for example. Anything that might be digging in your yard, you don't want them going after this stuff because it is a poison. So you have to be a little bit cautious about that. But one of them that's very effective is shaped like an earthworm, which is the mole's favorite food source. They really love earthworms, so they kind of just plow through the soil looking for worms, looking for other things to eat. Shaped like an earthworm, it's a poison bait. It's very effective. All the stories we hear from the field, this does seem to be something that does work. The active ingredient is called Talparid. I think it's sold under their Tomcat brand name in a lot of the stores. But that's one thing that all reports I have, it does work.
Okay. Well, that does help because, I can be flexible, but when they're in my flower beds, I'm not quite so flexible.
Yeah, that's when you've drawn the line, right?
Exactly. Stay on that side of the cement, you're good. Come up here, get
over.
out.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and hopefully we'll get some rain, and then we can have you back, and we can talk about what to do once it's raining.
Yeah, once it's cool and wet.
There you go. Folks, certainly get out there, pay attention to that lawn. You heard it here. If you get the opportunity, get out there, apply some water. If you've had grub issues, now is also the time to take action there. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message.
The Cherry Marketing Institute wants you to know about tart cherries. Cherry's red color comes from powerful antioxidants. Available year-round, it's easy to incorporate cherries into your daily diet. Visit choosecherries.com.
Michigan's 1,000 apple growers take pride in producing delicious apples from one generation to the next. From the Great Lakes come great flavors. Look for locally grown Michigan apples.
Have Jody speak at your next agricultural event. Go to jodylive.com.
And welcome back. We are back with Mike Beck of Uncle John Cider Mill. Mike, welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Great to be back.
I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about yourself and your operation, and then we're going to talk about farmers markets.
Sure. Me and my family run Uncle John's Cider Mill up in St. John's, fifth generation family farm. All sorts of apples and other great Michigan fruits and vegetables.
Well, and certainly when we look at that, I think folks are getting more into where does food come from, how does this work, and that has really given some great opportunities for some of the farmers markets across the state.
Absolutely. We started going to the Lansing City Farmers Market about 2 years ago now, and that's a really fun market, brand new, right there on the riverfront. So it's a great way for us to connect with people in the city, and along with our other vendors there, and it's a really nice market.
Well, and I think one of the neat things, and I want to have you tell us, from the vendor standpoint, what has that meant for business, and what are you seeing from consumers?
Well, as far as the business goes, it's the nice newness of the market located right next to the Lansing Center here really makes it nice and convenient. Although we'd sure love to see more shoppers there, and I don't think people equate when they come down to downtown Lansing that they can actually buy all their groceries right in downtown. So a great selection of vendors, and it really helps make everything at the market great.
Well, and when you're looking at that, what are you seeing from consumers? More interest than you have in the past?
Definitely. People are starting to want to connect to Michigan again, and so they're specifically looking for Michigan-grown goods. Some of our vendors sell, produce year-round, but they really start asking in the summer and fall. So.
Well, and one of the loaded questions, we know this weather. We talked with Kevin about what does it mean to your lawn. How are things looking in that fruit and vegetable arena this year?
Well, there's less fruit out there this year with all the spring frosts, and but things are coming along much faster with everything being so much earlier than other years. So, for example, cherries in Michigan normally would be picked right about starting now. Well, harvest is almost over on cherries, and blueberries are already starting. So things are earlier. There's going to be less things, but you know what? There's always enough fruits and vegetables grown in Michigan in enough places to at least cover the needs for the state. So we're not really going to see any kind of change as far as the amount of fruits or vegetables available. It's just going to be more of everything's going to be earlier.
Well, and I think that's so important because a lot of times I think we kind of get in a cycle. And I know for the shows I have the months I usually do certain
Yeah.
recipes. And as I'm looking some of those, you know, the rhubarb one almost got away from me
Right,
because
yeah.
it was so early. And I think that's just important for consumers. You need to get out there earlier than just about ever before.
Yeah, yep, absolutely, absolutely. Everything's about a 2 to 3 week ahead of schedule this year.
Well, and as you look and kind of looking ahead and some of the opportunities, what are some of the opportunities as you see kind of consumers getting some more interest?
Oh, well, pick your owns. Actually, we're moving back into the pick your own business. We're offering pick your own blueberries this year. Next year, we're adding strawberries. So people are wanting to make that connection with the land and actually make it out to the farms. So we're going to do more things at our farm that are convenient for pick your own. So.
Well, and I know as we look, this is one of the products that you guys
Yeah.
have, and we were talking before we started. It was a while ago that you were on
Yeah, about
and
10
talked about
years.
the launch of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years doesn't seem
I know,
possible,
I
does
know.
it? But some of these kinds of things too, I think, as the foodie movement goes on, are getting a lot more trendy, and,
Yeah.
and people are wanting to try new things.
Yep, yeah, a great value-added product. Our wine has been. You know, we've always made juice at Uncle John's for years. So adding the wine was a real simple step, and it's another thing that people are seeking is Michigan-made alcoholic beverages. So.
Well, and this too is neat because this we're kind of looking at the cider, and that has been one of those industries that's
Yeah,
really taken off.
Really, actually, the biggest growth in the alcohol beverage market has been the hard cider, with over 25% growth over the last 2 to 3 years.
Well, and I think sometimes those are some of the things we overlook. You know, we look at the numbers, we know how important ag is, but there are a lot of, I don't really want to say companies, but farm markets, farmers markets, mom and pops, family operations like you guys that are looking at those markets and developing these products. And I'm glad you mentioned the 10 years because that's a big long-term investment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big investment. You know, there's all the extras that we had to do to get into the business for doing wine specifically to make a shelf-stable product. But after we got beyond those hurdles, it's a nice way to help even out our year, and it's a nice way to keep a product around a lot longer.
Well, and Mike, as we're looking at July, what are some of the things, since we're ahead of schedule, folks need to be thinking about? What do we need to be getting to the farm market or the farmer's market to take advantage of?
Well, if you can still get sweet cherries, great, get them. Blueberries are starting up right now, so those should last a good 4 to 5 week season. But I could see certain apples being ready before Labor Day weekend.
Wow.
So, well, definitely an early harvest this year. So,
And I'm assuming peaches and some of the other tree fruit, all pretty much ahead of schedule.
at least 2 weeks early in every growing region that we have in Michigan.
Great.
So,
Good. Well, thank you.
thank you.
We appreciate
Yes.
it. Folks, get out there. Certainly, we're going to celebrate the fact that it's Farmers Market Month. Get out there, take advantage of the bounty that we have here in our state. Get to the farmers market, get to the farm market, take advantage of all that awesome produce that we have, and stay tuned because our next guests are going to tell you what to do with it once you have it.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
And welcome back. We are back with Tom Kuhn and Terry McLean. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thanks a lot. It's great to be here, Jody.
Good to hear.
I'm going to have you guys start. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk about this cool new program.
Great. Well, I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm the director of MSU Extension, and one of the best parts of my job is I get to work with professionals like Terry McLean.
Oh, thank you, Tom. I work in the community food system area for MSU Extension, and we are also very happy about Farmers Market Month in Michigan in July.
Well, and it seems, I have to tell you, I got the press release on the new program and thought, what a really cool idea to come up with Michigan Fresh. So I'm going to have you guys tell the folks at home what that is and how it works.
You bet. Well, a farmer's market is a logical place to find your cooperative extension service, right? And so we thought, well, so how can we be present there in a way that helps us carry out our education mission? So we've put together a website that has a number of materials, some of the documents like we have here, that show consumers, tell them a little bit about what they might want to look for at a farmer's market, or perhaps what kind of products they might buy, how they might preserve it. One great series that we have is one that starts with starting seeds, and then another document on healthy garden transplants, and then another one on tomato diseases in the home garden, and then finally one on using, storing, and preserving tomatoes. So if you think about all of those are steps in the process of growing tomatoes, ultimately ending up in the supreme salsa that we all that we all strive for, right?
That home fresh.
Yeah. So having those materials available on a website, but also at a farmer's market where people may come up and say, what do we do with that eggplant? And so we'll have volunteers and staff there who can help them with the kinds of things that they might do with the great bounty that they see at the farmer's market.
Well, and I think that's such an awesome idea. I mean, I have to say, until I started hosting the show, there were a lot of foods I heard of, but I haven't really had. But you get enough folks through, viewers send in recipes, and it gives you a great idea of what to do with it. So I think this is an awesome idea. When you're there looking at it, trying to figure out what to do, you guys can help us out.
That's the idea.
Yes, and we had, it's a cross-department kind of team work of community food system educators, horticulture educators, and food safety educators putting together these materials so that we can go from seed all the way to a finished product in the course of the season. We are timing the release of the publications to be seasonal to match what's available at this time.
Well, and that's got to be keeping you busy this year as far ahead as we are.
Well,
we're starting something new.
When we created the program, we went with an average year in terms of when we'd release the information. We all know this year is not an average year. However, we were up and running in May, and here in July have some materials coming up just in a week on how to preserve the food as well.
Well, and let's look a little bit. I mean, you brought a great bounty with you here. Just kind of give us an idea of some of the things we have so folks can kind of be thinking when we get out to those farmers markets, what are we looking for? What are some of the things that we can make?
Sure. We have some herbs. This is basil. We have turnips, which are wonderful roasted, delicious flavor. Eggplant. I think of Parmesan.
There you go.
Carrots. Oh, my goodness. So many ways. Fresh eating, cooked, what have you. Summer squash, zucchini, for example. My goodness, I think you can make anything from soup to nuts with the zucchini. And then onion, and of course a sweet green pepper. Can't beat that fresh taste.
Well, and especially too, I like the idea to come in and have some of those recipes, because sometimes you're really just not that sure, how well do I use it and how can I put some of the different things together?
Yes, in fact, we specifically even created some publications on things that aren't as standard and traditional, like kohlrabi and turnips and what have you, so folks would be able to experiment with the confidence of knowing what to do with them.
Well, and I know you guys have some neat stuff coming up next week at Eastern Market.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're actually going to have a kiosk at the market on market days, both Tuesdays and Saturdays. And we'll staff that with some of our nutrition instructors, as well as some volunteers, master gardeners, and so on. So if people come through the market and they have questions about what they're seeing in the market, our people will be there to help them with that. They'll have some of the handouts, some of these documents, and of course our handy bookmarks that have the website that they can go to and find out more about the materials in the market.
Well, and I will link to your site so folks can go to MichiganFarmandGarden.com and get there. And, one of the things I like too is looking at preserving. And a lot of times, our mom showed us how to do it, our grandma showed us how to do it, but science and technology have really changed.
Yeah.
And food safety is a big concern, all the way from farm production through final usage. And so we do have the most current up-to-date information on how to preserve food safely.
Well, and especially here, we talked a little bit with Mike, with those short seasons, I think you really need to be on top of it more than ever, because if it's not a huge crop, we want to make sure folks get out there and get those different commodities.
And typically, for what we might have less of this year, the place that you will find it will be at the farmer's market or direct on the farm versus at your retailer. So if you want to seek some of the apples and peaches and things that might be in shorter supply this year, that's where you'll find them.
Well, and you know, we talk about some of the other programs. We know certainly Governor Snyder has the Michigan Fit program, looking at some of the nutrition. A great opportunity, get out there, put it up, and have this bounty throughout the year.
Yep. Well, the more we can get people eating fresh fruits and vegetables grown here in Michigan, the better chances they have of remaining in good shape and good health, maintaining their weight at a healthy level. We just need for them to have some physical activity go along with that. So maybe we need a running track at the farmer's market too.
There you go.
But we're also supporting our farmers and our local economy too when we're selecting Michigan. So that's just a win-win.
Okay, well, thank you, Tom. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Jody.
Terry,
Thank you, Jody.
you. We appreciate all you guys are doing. Get out there, certainly get to your farmer's market, get to your farm market. Visit us on MichiganFarmandGarden.com. We will link you to Michigan Fresh, but a great opportunity to take advantage of the bounty that we have here in the state. Make it at your own house and serve it to your family. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message. Hi, I'm Jody. Corn is America's renewable resource. It can be used to fuel your vehicle and heat your home. Corn is grown in abundance in the state of Michigan, and it is a great alternative to foreign oil when it comes to heating your home. In fact, you can install a corn heater, furnace, or boiler in your own home. These work much the same as conventional furnaces, but they use Michigan-grown corn. By using corn to heat our homes, we're creating a more secure future for everyone. Select Michigan. It's good for you, the grower, and the economy. And welcome back. Folks, how exciting to think about the bounty that we have here in our state. And we're going to take some of that bounty to put it into a recipe from Emily Bolenball of Lansing. This is for golden summer corn soup. And this is not the quickest recipe I've made, so don't think you're going to be able to do this in 5 or 10 minutes. It certainly is worth the work and worth the effort. Basically, you're going to take your golden summer corn. You're going to go ahead, take the kernels off the cobs, put the kernels aside, take the cobs, evaporated milk, put that in a saucepan and bring that to boil and let that boil for about 8 minutes. Then you're going to go ahead and in another pan, you're going to want to heat your carrots, your celery, your garlic. Then you'll add those corn kernels, put in a little salt and pepper, and stir that for about 5 minutes until that becomes tender. Then add the vegetable mixture, the water, and the thyme in the saucepan. Cook that, discard the corn cobs and the thyme. You'll go ahead, cool that, put it into a blender, and then blend that up. Go ahead, pour that through the sieve again, and you will end up with some good, nice, soft vegetables and some great, wonderful soup. Very easy, and the nice thing I like about recipes like this is you can go ahead and add different herbs, you can add different vegetables, you can really make it what you want it to be. And folks, I want to make sure I also mention, if you are up north, the Boyne City Farmers Market, that is open as well. So thanks to them for sending us information, but really you can look at your community. There's U-Pick directories, pick up the information, find that local farmers market. You can always visit us online at MichiganFarmandGarden.com, and basically you can get recipes for the last 8 years. So go there, click on past recipes. As always, you can write to Michigan Farm and Garden Recipes, P.O. Box 461, Williamston, Michigan. If you just want 1 or 2 recipes, send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll print those off, stick them in the envelope, and get them back to you. Otherwise, we'll put you on the quarterly mailing. Folks, have a great week, and I'll see you back here next weekend. Bye-bye.